You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And this is the time the mountains of Arizona are famous. Spring can be a little windy. Summer is just hot and rainy. Fall is our go-to time. And this is when your plants say fall is our go-to time. This is when they like to grow. When that rain starts in August into July through autumn, plants just put on tremendous growth. In fact, right now they are putting on tremendous roots because after they've grown their top growth, their foliage, the more leaves they put on, the more roots they can produce. And so they're actively rooting right now. This is when you really make them sturdy and strong. You're setting the stage for a larger root mass, which will be next. They'll be able to grow more next spring for you, especially important for young or new landscapes. You want to get them full, mature. So encourage them to grow. You might even fertilize them a little more often when they're younger so they bump up and get that root mass going to them. Right now you're seeing the flowers, the perennial gardens. Now remember, perennials are those plants that come back. So perennial and permanent both start with P. And so you plant them once and you're done. And they just get bigger, more glorious as they mature. So you got peonies, they can grow 50 years or they can live as long as trees. Echinaceas reseed and they keep going. They're wildflowers, blanket flowers or gaillardia. They're wildflowers. And so these are plants that produce, you kind of spend a little bit more money for them, but you get years of enjoyment out of them. The investments in perennials, annuals, they live for a year. So annually, just 1 year, and then they die off in the winter typically. And so but they're glorious. I mean, nothing blooms like an annual. But some of the new perennials of autumn are showstoppers. They put the annuals to shame with the colors, the intense, vibrant colors, the textures, the size of the flower. We've got a new Ito peony just came in. Itos are not Ito peony. That's Mashudos hibiscus. Sorry, I had my perennial on the brain. So I've got Mashudos hibiscus. This is a tropical looking. So you folks from Hawaii or the southern, the tropical areas, you love your big hibiscus. The flowers are as big as your head. That's this one, but it's hardy for the mountains of Arizona. So it's a true perennial. That is, it's up about hip high. It gets about 3 foot high, 3 foot wide, kind of a beautiful mounding shape. It's got a lacy type of foliage to it, but then the flowers emerge this time of year. The flowers are as big as your hand. They're huge and they're consistent. They always do this every late summer through autumn. You can count on it. Nothing else is quite like this. Now, it is a perennial. That is, it will die back to the ground. So it's not like our Rose of Sharon. Rose of Sharon is it's a hardy hibiscus that's a shrub form. This one actually is a perennial. So it grows at 3.5 feet all in 1 year. And then it puts on these massive flowers. And then it will hibernate underground for the winter. Then it comes back and does it all over again. So usually in January, February, March, somewhere in there, late winter, you're pruning this thing back, fertilize it, and it comes right back and does it again. You only find these at a garden center in summer through autumn. So it's late summer. They're just showing up now. So this is the time to plant them for years of enjoyment. It's just kind of a unique flower. We've had hibiscus all spring, but they're the smaller flowers. This is that massive tropical. You just want to, it's just beautiful. Nothing's like it. Another one that comes up is your Crocrochnia, which is a bulb that is fluorescent in its color. I mean, it is so bright. The foliage stands up hip high, and then the flowers hover above that, and they are covered in flowers. The hummingbirds are just going nuts over the flowers. You only find this time of year. It blooms every year, this time of year through autumn. Then it hibernates underground. You cut it back and it starts over again next spring. That's the beauty of perennials. And so you've got all kinds of varieties coming up. New lilies showing up. We have a new heuchera or coral bells. It's got black foliage. I mean, it's super cool. I mean, black, usually it's greens and gold, fuchsias and reds, purples. But black, oh my gosh, you put that with some brightly colored flowers like echinacea, and it just pops. It just really, really looks good. It's fun to design with flowers of autumn because they just look so, it's just so easy. If you do container gardens, let's say your apartment or you're renting and you've got containers on your patios or your decks, that kind of stuff, this is the time of year you're out there enjoying the weather this time of year. You want some pretty things to kind of come or to dress up or to decorate your container gardens. This is the time you put them in. The first of the fall mums, pansies, vegetables all showed up this week. They're in full. It's time to start putting your broccoli and lettuce and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and all the other fall crops. It's time to put your pansies and violas, kales, and your mums. The mums are garden mums. Now, there's different types of mums, so you need to be aware of this as a new gardener to hear. Hardy garden mums, they like the cold. They need to be reset by the cold. And so they'll hibernate underground, and you'll usually keep the mums. They'll be in bloom through autumn. They'll kind of go kind of straw colored, and they'll keep that way through the winter, through the start of winter. Usually by January, sometime the snow kind of beats them up, and they start laying over, and they get ugly. That's when I start weed whacking them. Just whack them right back as close as I can to the ground that's comfortable, and then they'll hibernate underneath there, and they'll start emerging again in March. They start growing, but then they bloom this time of year. Your greenhouse mums don't do that. Greenhouse mums, if they're grown in a greenhouse, they're not hardy. They're made for florists. They're made for weddings. They're made for not for your garden. They're made for inside. Enjoy them, then you throw them away. Garden mums are meant to enjoy it inside, outside, anywhere you want them. I have big pots right by the front door because they're just so glorious. And then I go plant them out in the yard out there later. I want to enjoy the flowers right here. So we had some that came in. They're in a big cachet pots. They're monsters. Garden mums. They were grown outdoors, not in a greenhouse. They're exposed to our wind, our sun, or our weather. They're grown outdoors. Then you can put them out there, and they just adapt really well. There are so many buds on this like 3 to 4 foot across mum. I mean, it is awe-inspiring, covered in flower. You can't see the foliage. It's so magnificent. That's what autumn can do. That's autumn. This is when plants love to show off because they can show off. It's not as hot. If they were to do this in summer, they could do it, but it'd only bloom for a day and then it'd be done. They're waiting till the days get a little cooler so they can bloom longer. I mean, they're just like people. I'm not going out there in the sun for what? Are you kidding me? I'm going to wait. Just kind of hold things together. Then I'll start blooming when the heat is off. And that's what your flowers are doing right now. Echinaceas, there must be a dozen varieties. It's wild. I can't believe all the new colors. In fact, if you want to see all of this year's colors, I was at our test garden. So we plant all of these plants and test them out in full sun. We want to see how long they bloom, how many bugs get after them. Do the bunnies eat them? How do the colors wash out in the sun? Do they hold up straight in the wind? So I was at the test gardens and I took a video. Hey, you want to see what all the bright colors are? This is where we get our seed or our cuttings from. And then we test them. This time of year, we get to see what they're like. And then we go, okay, we're growing that one and that one and that one. And we're going to bring those in and we're going to have those available for customers here at Waters Garden Center. Well, I took a video and just kind of showed you what there's. Agastache did that with them. The geraniums. Oh my gosh, there's some beautiful new colors. I was just teased. We've got a new purple hydrangea coming. I don't think it's going to make next year, but for sure 26. We've only got 100 plants. You got to take cuttings from these, and it's just not quite enough to really get it going. But by 26, it's going to be pretty exciting. I got a picture of that at the farm. So anyway, if that's of interest to you, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, it just kind of seems like Facebook's more friendly to stuff. TikTok is pretty good too. So you follow us on those and you'll see some of the new plants coming out for next year and what they look like. this year. Hi, Kenneth Waters with our Monster Monsoon Sale, our only sale of the year.
Truckloads of fresh autumn maple, aspen, and spruce have just arrived, and we need room, so summer plants must go.
Perennials, trees, shrubs, even pottery must go, and it's worth your while with plant sales at 25, 45, even 65% off.
It's Waters' only sale of the year at Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
Where people who love great plants at sale prices, they love to shop. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.